Entrepremommies, we share from experience. Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot. Remember, Entrepremommies.
Hello and welcome to the Entrepremommies show. I am Tiffy T, the Resellqueen, Tiffany Tracey. And my co-host, Nicole Flamer, she should be here shortly. Looks like she's having some technical difficulties. So we're going to get started and wait for Nicole to get back on for her internet. I know she actually has a really good presentation for you guys to listen to and to watch. There we go. We are back. Okay.
I took the clip down. I figured we could put it up.
That's all right. Put that back up.
Okay.
All right. So Nicole Flamer is back. Say hi to people.
Hello, everyone. A little technical difficulty.
Well, it wasn't that long. I was like, let's see how long I can stretch this.
Yeah.
You know, and what's really funny, I think it's funny that that's what just happened. But last night, actually, I don't know if I talk about this a lot, but I am part of Toastmasters. And Toastmasters is a group that helps you with leadership skills and communication skills and public speaking skills. And last night it was my turn to be like the MC.
Ooh, okay.
So I actually tend to pick this particular role because I am very comfortable with the role. Mm-hmm. Because even though it's a lot of talking, it's really just introducing so-and-so is getting ready to do this. So-and-so is getting ready to do that. Mm-hmm. That to me is the easiest part.
Right.
However, last night there were some technical difficulties for the speaker, and I had to wait for them to get everything set up technically for their speech because they were actually putting themselves inside the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Which is a new feature like with Zoom, where the PowerPoint is technically behind you, but you're also on the screen. So it's a special way to share your screen. And they needed some help getting that all set up and everything. Yeah. So I had to stretch my introduction, stretch a few things, and stretch talking to the people that were in our meeting. We actually technically have 3 new members, but we had 2 new members that were on that night. And I had to kind of stretch. So I kind of just started talking off the top of my head and say, you know what? While that we're waiting for this, let me talk to the new people and tell you some ways that you can use Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, oh, when am I ever going to need that? Look at that.
Right. There you go.
See how God works. Because I got a little scared and shaky when it happened last night. However, today that was not the case.
That's what's up.
So Toastmasters, although they don't really pay, I don't know if they really pay for advertising. It's actually we are supposed to be the people that market Toastmasters, people that are in it. I would always tell anyone who needs help with public speaking, leadership, just really to help you in life. And the reason why I say just in life is because it's not just about being in charge or giving speeches. You actually learn a lot about yourself. You get to network with a lot of people. And because everyone is giving speeches, you learn about a lot of different things.
Okay.
I learned something last night that I told my husband about.
Yeah.
So one of the people gave a speech on the proper way to complain to companies.
Okay.
And what's really funny, they talked about a website that has a list of CEO email addresses.
Love it.
And and part of their speech was saying that should be one of the processes that you go through, when you need to give a complaint. And they showed how to give the complaint. You have to be concise but all short, but take feelings out of it, but also get to the point of what the issue is and whatnot. And they were saying you went to email the CEO of the company if you don't get any response back from normal methods. And my husband this morning got a phone call before work from his supervisor and was like, you got to work on this one problem. And my husband, he knows what the issues are technically of whatever he needs to deal with. And he's like, I've been knew this was going to be a problem. Told y'all it was going to be a problem a while back, but sure, I'll make that my first thing. Apparently a person emailed the CEO of his employer.
Right.
And it got down to the point where my husband, who's the one that's been saying, y'all know this broken, right? Where he now gets the allowance to actually fix it.
Yeah.
Because someone wrote to the CEO.
Come to find out they was in Toastmasters last night.
Right? Who knew? That's going to happen. Okay. It's funny you should say that. And my husband was like, they emailed the CEO. He was all like, how'd they do that? And I said, you know what I learned last night in Toastmasters? And he was like, how did that come up? I said, well, someone gave a speech on the proper way to complain. And he gave a couple different websites where they have a list of CEO email addresses for companies. And he was like, huh, I taught him something.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
That's right. That's what's up, though.
It's really funny. We weren't even going to talk about this at all. But but what's really funny, though, is how that does help you in business.
Yeah.
Because it helps you to adapt.
Yes.
It if you just think about what's just recently has happened with us in the pandemic, you have to adapt. If you're in business, you have to adapt to what is happening. There are lots of changes going on. You have to adapt to marketing to people on a cell phone versus marketing to them on a radio ad or on a commercial. Now you have to market to people on social media. There's a lot of things that, some people they may not be comfortable with.
Right.
But I feel that Toastmasters helps you with your comfort level. And as I was telling the group last night, Toastmasters is where you make your mistakes. So that when you get out in the real world, you're already comfortable with what you need to do.
Right. You're polished. Yeah.
So that's my free commercial for Toastmasters today.
Okay. I know we have a local one out here that meets at the intermediate unit building.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I might go when I'm out there. You can be a guest. You can be a guest 3 times.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. That's really cool. I like that. So I find that customer service has kind of taken a downturn, though, since the pandemic. I notice a lot more companies are comfortable with closing early, not having enough. I mean, I know not having enough staff is not like, we get it, but sometimes it can be overkill. Like, I feel like there's not enough, at least the branches of the companies, they need to restructure how they do things or how they hire people or how they staff people, because it shows like all these local stores, like the dollar stores and stuff, they're all closing early. They're running on a skeleton shift. They might want to consider just closing for the day, only being a Monday through Friday shop or only being a Wednesday through Sunday shop or something like that.
And there are places that make it that way.
Yes. Yeah. We have to go old school for a while. I mean, even like when Walmart closed at 10, I was like, what?
10 o'clock.
Yes, they closed at 10. Now they've extended it to midnight. But yeah, after the pandemic, they were closing at 10.
Well, I am used to my Walmart, which is about 45 minutes away, closing, I want to say around midnight.
Yeah.
That's before pandemic.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's before pandemic. But I know the Walmart out there, didn't that used to be 24 hours?
24 hours. I used to go there at like 3 a.m. sometimes.
Yes, I'm like, I know I've done that. I used to love going there while they were stocking the shelves. I just liked being not around people.
Yeah,
And
me too. Yeah, it's like you can browse nicely and stuff. Yeah, and so they stopped being 24 hours, and after the pandemic they were open till 9, and then they went to 10, and now I think they're back to midnight. But yeah, there's not that many 24-hour places. Wegmans I think still is 24 hours possibly.
I didn't
Um
realize they were 24 hours.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that they even were.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
can tell I don't live near there anymore.
right, right. Yeah. But I find just like dealing with people, they've gotten used to making excuses for the pandemic, and now it's a business, it's a way of doing business. And I'm like, okay, we need to get our polish back on. Like, it's not,
Well, I think it's a combination of many things. We have a
Mhm.
supply chain issue.
Mhm.
That's a big thing. And then we also have issues around pay inequality.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So if you don't have the supplies, that means you're not making the sales so that you can
Mhm.
pay the right wages. So if your answer is to close, like close, actually I'd rather see you close and stay open and not have my stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's a double-edged sword but now, ever since the pandemic, people that weren't comfortable with mobile ordering
Mhm.
or pickup or delivery that's everyone knows what that is now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
regardless of what your comfort level was, you may not get it completely, but
Mhm.
you know how it works now.
Right. Yeah.
So because of that, though, people are now more comfortable ordering online.
Mhm.
I mean, in some places, you can order on Amazon in the morning at 9 o'clock,
Mhm.
and your stuff that you order will be there at 2.
Yes.
Not where I live,
Yes.
but but in some places. However,
Right.
I can say there have been times that I have ordered. Let's say I ordered it on Wednesday and it showed up on Thursday,
Mhm.
which is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't complete considering where I live in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
To get it to me that fast. It's so funny to me as a person who sells on Amazon. I look at it and say, how are they making money? Because
Mhm.
I know how much it costs to ship.
Right. I wonder the same thing sometimes. I'm like, I can't figure it out. Especially if you get something that's free shipping. And I know that they add the cost in, but if
Oh
it's a
yeah.
low cost item, I'm like, where's their profit margin on this? I know a lot of people do loss leaders too, but it's
Mhm.
hard to do that on Amazon. Whereas if you don't know what a loss leader is when you have a product that you sell at a loss to
Right.
get people to buy your other products. But on
Mhm.
Amazon, you can't really do that because it's not like you have a store that people are, I mean, you have a store, but people aren't following your store. They're getting your product to pop up because it's the lowest priced or it has the
Mhm.
best features, whatever. So I was like, that concept that couldn't work with an Amazon model that I could think of, because I can't count on one hand how many times I've gone to a store a second time on Amazon. I don't even know who I'm buying from half the time.
Right. A lot of people
So
don't.
yeah.
Because the one thing about Amazon, it promotes for you to have Amazon loyalty, but not
Hmm.
brand store loyalty.
Right. Yep.
So when you well, we both sell on Amazon, so we know. But
Hmm.
for those of us who may be watching or listening are like, what are they talking about? So
Hmm.
when you set up to be a seller on Amazon, when you have an item to sell, you create technically like a listing for that item.
Hmm.
Now, in most cases, there's going to already be a listing for that item
Right.
because someone else has probably sold it. And you're just in a way adding on the attributes that you have and the information that you have about that item and your quantity.
Hmm.
And then it goes through the Amazon algorithm. That's probably the best way for me to explain.
Hmm.
And there is something that we as sellers know that's called the buy box.
Hmm.
That buy box means that when a person types red pen, there are sellers that are already in the buy box that will appear that it's their item, sort of, and you're going to be buying directly from that seller. What people may not know is part of the Amazon algorithm is that Amazon takes into account the location of the buyer. And so they know at all times where all inventory is.
Right.
That is at Amazon. So if we ship into Amazon and they are our fulfillment center, Amazon will take our inventory and ship it across the nation. So if you have 20 items, you may have 3 in Delaware, 5 in Nevada, another 3 in Illinois, another 1 or 2 in Wisconsin. And then their systems know where your inventory is, and they use that to determine who you're going to buy from.
Right.
So that when a person buys that red pen, if I'm in, I'll just say if I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, whoever has the buy box for that red pen that is the closest to Wilmington, Delaware, whatever warehouse that's out there, that's who's going to win.
Right.
That customer. Right. And it sounds like, wow, so it sounds like it's very unfair. But if you look at how many people are buying,
right,
it's very fair.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's all, and you can be in the buy box and not have the lowest price.
Right.
However, some people, that's a whole nother show. We ain't gonna go into that. But,
right. Yeah.
Because then you got those people that just want to short everybody. It's like, ain't none of us making any money.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And, it's Amazon for me started kind of on a lark where I started off putting books up on Amazon and I had some really good success with it. When I tried to branch into other products, I found that the amount of research that I would have needed to do to be successful was really not what I wanted to do. So, because you really have to know, you really have to find a good niche, a good market, a good strategy, because Amazon, I mean, especially I would say over the last like 5 to 7 years, I mean, it's the go-to. Everybody, I mean, it's become its own verb, or noun, like whatever. It's like, don't get me started, but it's become its own entity. It's like, oh, I got it on Amazon. I got it on Amazon, and you don't, like I said, you don't know where you're getting it from half the time. And, even if there's, God forbid, you have a customer service issue, I hate that. I'm just like, I'll just end up keeping it a lot of times because I know I'm not going to get to anybody. So I'm just like,
I tend to just let people keep their stuff.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you have no way to say you're not going to take refunds.
Right.
On Amazon. There is none of that.
Right.
It's not like eBay.
They are in complete control of that
I
process.
ain't refunded.
Yes.
No, eBay, like the customer, not only are they right, they may be delusional, but they're right. Like that's Amazon's approach.
The customer's eBay ID might say, I am scamming you right now. And it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. On eBay is like,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So with Amazon, it's like, probably the best way is to say to sell. There is a lot of, I don't like to discourage people and say, oh, it's so much work, but you do have to put time in.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not where you just put time in one time.
No.
When I was exclusively Amazon, I worked my butt off hours upon hours upon hours of days. Yeah. I drove so many places because I was doing online arbitrage. And all I did was go to thrift stores, go to discount stores, and scan barcodes the whole time I was in there.
That's one way to get rid of a shopping addiction. Right? Isn't it? Because after you do that for a couple of months, you're like, I don't feel like shopping. I'm doing this for work now. I mean, it really gets rid of it.
Funny you should say that, because I asked my husband in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I said, do you have a problem with me going to all these places and shopping? And he was like, you get the shop and I'm not paying for it. I'm all for it. I'm
Right.
like, whatever. So, but then after putting all those mileage on my vehicle, all that time, because after you find the item, you got to see how many they got, and you see what the profit level is going to be, because first of all, you have to scan the item to see several things. This is going to be an Amazon teaching class today.
Use that way, right? Yeah.
But Amazon actually tells you a lot of information if you are a seller. So you know how often the item sells. The item itself has a ranking in its category. So in each category, as time goes by, you'll figure out where you want your rankings to be for that item, and you can see how much money potentially you can make. Right. I say potentially because that list price that's there today could change within a week, which is when Amazon's going to get your stuff.
Yes. So I lost a few dollars on Amazon, especially when they started cleaning up the whole process and getting rid of like the sometimes sellers and stuff. And I had put a whole bunch of things on, I had a whole bunch of listings on Amazon, and for a while you could do like fulfillment by Amazon, and the cost to keep your items in storage wasn't that. It was like, it was doable.
It made so much sense.
Yeah, it made so much sense. And then
allowed you to be able to sell so much more because you didn't have to worry about warehousing. All you had to do was ship it out.
Yep. And so I shipped a bunch of stuff. And then
me too.
So when they started cleaning up that process and like, look, what do you want to do with this stuff that hasn't sold? Because starting this time, we're going to. Right. And
you're going to pay us.
Yes. So I discounted my stuff, and then so I lost money. Oh, and then when they changed their fee structure, I lost money on my books, because it became some books, they were still offering like the same rate, but the books were heavier. So like one of my niches I was selling was textbooks. And so
that's where the money used to be.
Yeah, it was where it used to be, right? So I had textbooks. Some of these textbooks was like 10. Not 10 pounds. I'm exaggerating.
About 5 pounds.
About 5 pounds, right? So they offer you a shipping incentive, right? But sometimes it's bigger than the shipping incentive doesn't cover.
Really.
Yes. And then if somebody wanted it express, goodbye profit. Like I'm like, okay, so. Because a lot of times I got the books, I either got them free from clean outs, or I got them from the Goodwill, or some of them were my own books and stuff. And sometimes that's a whole other racket. Thank goodness for like clouds, and like the schools are getting more putting more of the books online and stuff, so the students don't have to buy a physical copy. But at this time, books could have been as much as $150. And you could, a lot of times they only changed up a couple words in the editions. So you could get a older book and still be able to follow along in class pretty decently. And so there was a whole secondary market for that. But if they were too big, so I started having to pull my really large books off, or I'd have to offer them for a price that, nobody really was willing to pay because of the age of them. So, so I lost money there. But yeah, so eventually I was just like, okay, I'm only on Amazon for Kindle. I'm only on Amazon with intellectual property right now.
Yeah.
I think I might still have some books listed up there. So I think I actually do have some books listed still up there, but they haven't sold. So
yeah, I actually had Amazon ship me back all of my stuff that they were getting ready to charge me on.
Okay.
Ship it back to me, and the only things that I have still left are my private label stuff.
Okay.
And I have since discontinued doing private labeling because of the shipping issues coming from China.
Right. Yeah.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing about this industry. It is forever changing. It is not the type of thing where when I started in eBay, gosh, it's probably I started in eBay. My oldest son is 23, and I think I started around the time that he was a baby.
Oh wow,
So, yeah, so when I
been a
started on
while.
yeah, I started with just antiques, with just collectibles and stuff. And at that time, that's where it was. That's eBay was the hot spot for that. Pretty much if you were looking for something that couldn't be found, you could find it on eBay. And I really found that it was a pretty fair marketplace back then. You still had your scammers. You had
Of
your
course.
people who, even though you put up 500 pictures of the item and every nick mark and not as this item not as described. It's like, what? You have a picture of every mark on this doll. I had one lady who bought an old doll. It was a valuable doll, but it had definitely wear and tear because it was old. Found it in an old house.
Right.
But she still wanted it. I took so many pictures of it, and she bought it. I was doing an auction format, right? So she won the auction, and it didn't. I mean, it wasn't like. I mean, I think she bought it was like a $20 at that point. I mean, again, I got it for free, and
Right.
value wise, if you're a doll collector, though, she probably made out because she's probably going to redo it and touch it up and then probably sell it for $300, right?
Exactly. So she
Right.
made out.
So she made out, but she wanted it for free too, I guess, because she totally challenged that listing and totally challenged that sale and everything. She lost because the one thing that I always learned is always take many millions of
Take all them
pictures.
pictures.
Take all the pictures because for the
All the
most part,
pictures.
that's the thing that'll save your butt is that if you can prove that you posted this ahead of time and that they've seen it, that's hard to be a scammer on that. But yeah, so that's when I started and I enjoyed that because to me it was more about the value of the item. When eBay started trying to be more like Amazon and started to allow and really go after sellers who were selling like new products.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's where I felt like my model was kind of pushed aside because I can't, I mean, that wasn't where I was getting, I wasn't selling new products. I was selling old antiques, collectibles. I was going to Goodwills and stuff, finding things that people had not, did not know the value of. I mean, one of my best eBay sales was I spent $2 on a Dungeons and Dragons game, and I ended up making
You had a
$275
Dungeon
off of
and
that.
Dragons game?
A Dungeons and Dragons game from the early 80s. It
Oh,
was it
girl,
was
that's
in
funny.
it was in mint condition. Yep.
They
I
probably never even touched it, played it
never
once.
even touched it, never opened. And like I bought it because I'm a nerd for the most part. Even though I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, I like all that stuff. So I saw it and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I look it up and I was like, okay, wow. This is nice. This is nice. And I started my bidding low because I was like, let's see where this goes. And when it got to $70, I was like, yes, I'm done. When it went all the way to 275, I was like, yes.
You're like,
That was
we rich.
yes. And
We rich.
there is a high from that. I tell you, that's a high that you start to chase after a while. You'd be like, let me see what's in here. You start
You
going
get some
anywhere.
notifications. You're like, what?
Yes.
Yeah,
That
I don't
eBay
even
auction
do
high
auctions anymore,
is
but because
huge.
I don't sell that type of stuff anymore.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all it's like a
Yeah.
drug.
It is a drug. It is a
It's like a
major drug.
drug.
I miss that sometimes. Like there's something to it. But
There's nothing like that one sale or that for me, it's
mhm.
my first sale. But
Yes.
that
Yeah.
gave me that high. But I had another high from we got something from a wholesaler that was for truckers. And
Right.
he kind of just gave it to us because he was like, look, I don't even know what this is. He was like, just throw that in with what you get.
Oh, great.
$450.
Yes.
Sold it in a day. And afterwards, we were like, did we make it too low?
Right. Then you start to wonder,
Did
can
we
I
make it
make
too
some more money off of that?
low?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So, but did you know, Nikki, that if you know nothing about credit, you're business credit, there is a place called nav.com.
Mm-hmm.
Now, nav.com helps you with your personal credit, your business credit, and it also helps you with forming your company or your entity. So some people are always like, I don't know where to start. I know I want to have a business. I know I need to get it legal. Well, nav.com is right where you start.
Right.
We have the link right in our description box. You click there, you create a free account. Keep in mind, I said free. And from there, you can start following the directions on how to set up your business. It has all the links there. You follow for your state. It tells you where to go so that you can set up your business entity legally. And it doesn't charge for you to do that. And then after that, you also have credit monitoring that you can apply for, as well as you can get notifications about your credit, about your business credit. And they also give you matches for places that you should apply for to help you with your business credit.
Yes.
It's a win-win.
Yes.
Nav.com. Click the link in our bio. We appreciate our sponsors.
I always like to say, and I don't think I've said it in a while, is that for probably a year or so, I had a free Nav account. I pay for it now because I found it valuable. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can sign up for that don't show their value, but Nav is not one of them. But I did hold a free account for a long time just to see. And plus, I wasn't really at a stage in my business where, I wasn't ready to start delving into that business credit aspect. So I was like, okay, well, maybe when I'm ready to make that jump, I'll do that. And when I signed up for the free account. I get alerts from my personal account. I get alerts about my balance of my business checking account, all kinds of things. And, it's helpful. It is very helpful when you're starting out. There's people out here that will charge you for some of the information that you can get from nav.com, either the paid version or the free version.
Especially that free version.
Right, especially that free version. So you want to, I'm the type of person, one, where I don't want to pay for anything that I could have found. That's the worst feeling when you paid for something you found out it's free somewhere. I don't like. I mean, I guess people deserve their hustle time or whatever, but I hate that. So we don't try to deceive you here. Like, definitely go to Nav, get that information for your business so that you can be in the know. You can be in control of what you're doing. Don't leave it in somebody else's hands.
That's right. So here are Entrepremommies. We are starting a brand new segment.
Yay.
And the name of the segment is called How They Started.
Yes.
And for today's first installment, we have my wonderful co-host who has put together a nice presentation of another Entrepremommy who has been in the news recently, but she's giving you good information about this particular person. So we're gonna take it away whenever you are ready.
Yes, we'll get that timing right. Here we go. Entrepremommies presents How They Started Out. And today we are talking about Wendy Williams. Wendy Joan Williams was born on July 18th, 1964 in Asbury Park, New Jersey. She's the second of three children born to Shirley and Thomas Williams. Wendy has stated in interviews that she's always loved radio, but her parents thought she was going to become a nurse. Wendy graduated from Ocean Township High School in 1982. After high school, Wendy attended Northeastern University in Boston with intent of becoming a television anchor. Wendy's first job was on the island of St. Croix. She worked in radio stations in DC and New York for years, but how I was introduced to her was here. Wendy came to Philadelphia in 1998 after being fired from Hot 97 in New York. here, Wendy really blossomed. Her husband, Kevin Hunter, became her agent, and she was very open about her personal life, talking about her surgeries, her drug addiction, and she actually helped the station, Power 99, move from 14th place to 2nd place in the ratings. In 2001, Wendy returned to New York. She was hired full-time for a syndicated time slot. Her show was heard across the U.S. in other markets, and she became very popular. And in 2009, she left radio to focus on her television program. In July of 2008, Wendy Williams debuted her daytime talk show, The Wendy Williams Show. This is where Wendy Williams became a household name. Wendy is a true entrepreneur. She has a son. Although he's older now, she has been also very candid about being a working mother. What I really admire about Wendy Williams is that she says often of herself, she's accused of being a person who says things that people really want to say, but maybe are too scared to say. Wendy is an excellent example of an individual who used purpose, intention, and drive to rise to the top of her field. Recently, Wendy has had some struggles with her marriage, her health, and her finances, and we are rooting for her and can't wait for her to get back either on radio or on television and do what she does best. Yay! Let's see. So that's how Wendy got started.
That's how she got started.
Yes.
Wow, you even found some old clips of Power 99 with Carter and Sanborn?
Did. Carter and Sanborn.
Wow, that's bringing it back. That's bringing it back to the old school. Back.
Yes. I listened to Carter and Sanborn every morning on the way to school.
That's right, years.
Yes,
we did.
Yes, we did. Yes. And when Wendy joined the show, she took it to a whole new level. I was like, who is this?
No, she was probably one of the first times I actually heard a Black woman on radio and knew she was Black.
Okay, right. Yes.
Because I know that there were other stations, there's been other Black newscasters, but, I should say radio hosts, but that was the first time I heard someone that I could like she could be my friend.
Right. Yes.
Normally it was the Black lady is the one that reads the weather report, the traffic report.
Yeah.
Nah, Wendy was the show.
Yes. Yep.
She was the show. And she got me through a lot of times just with her commentary. I remember being stuck at a horrible job.
Yeah.
And I used to stream, but this is just back when she left Philly and went back to New York. I used to stream her 2:00 show.
Yeah.
And that got me through, girl.
Yeah.
Stream that show. And I used to sit there and just work and work and work, listening to her, he-heeing, know. And I remember my supervisor at the time saying, I noticed your productivity goes up when everybody else's goes down. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, it's normally after lunch, was like most productivity goes down. I'm like, oh, maybe they just don't have it in them to get their work done, but I do. I do take my time, make sure that it's done. But but I know that was because listening to Wendy, having that entertainment in my ear, I was able to just do what I needed to do. I didn't get up and out of my seat. I was getting my work done, thankfully, to Wendy. And Wendy has really been a pioneer.
Oh, definitely.
No one has done what she has done.
Yes.
She has, whether you love her or hate her, she has definitely made a mark on not just radio, but on daytime TV. You have to give her flowers.
You definitely do. She is a pioneer, and she says things that nobody, just like the quote, that nobody feels comfortable, people are afraid to say, and from a Black woman, like you said, because a lot of times, she's upbeat, she's friendly, but she's also kind of, I mean, I wouldn't call her aggressive, but she has an authority about her. Well, one, she is huge. She's a very tall woman, but she has an authority about her that is like nothing else, because she has put in the work and the time, and she owns it, and people respect her. And that wasn't, I remember when people used to clown Wendy early on and stuff, but I think now that she's definitely proven herself, and she's a good example of what you can do with what you have. And if you have a dream, you can follow it. I mean, I didn't talk too much about her entrepreneurial endeavors, her production company and such, because I just wanted people to see that, she took kind of the regular route: high school, college, then she worked in her field. But she worked I think I counted somewhere about 7-8 different radio stations before she got up to New York to Hot 97, before it was Hot 97. So she put in the time. She put in the time, she put in the grind, she learned her skill, and then she's great at it. And she's very polished. I mean, even though she talks about gossip and she talks about other people's business and stuff like that, she knows what people want to hear. And that's what people weren't banking on. She went from taking a format where people were kind of like, oh, I don't know about this, but that's what people wanted to hear. People want to know about their celebrities. They want to know about their secrets.
If you made it to Wendy's Hot Topics, that means you were doing something. Like, there's celebrities, they're trying, just like celebrities try to get on TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
They want that. They want that free advertising.
Mm-hmm.
They sure do. So,
right.
We know that Wendy Williams has had some issues recently. She hasn't been on the air for probably, I guess, at this point, a year.
Mm-hmm.
She does struggle with her thyroid, and she has Graves' disease, and she is working through that. And we know recently there are some issues with her bank account, so she's going through the whole legal process. So we just want to send her from the Entrepremommies healing energy.
Definitely.
And we pray for her return, because we know she's coming back.
Oh yes.
I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait to see what she brings next.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny. Think about how many shows on TV have come and gone while she stayed on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a lot of, and I heard this term earlier today, and I'm going to steal it. There is a morgue full of daytime television shows. Full. That did not make it the whole time she's been on TV.
Yes. Yep.
She knows what she's doing.
Yes, she does. She does. She knows what people want. She knows what she's doing. So
that was a very good segment. I hope you guys learned something. We're going to try and work on doing new things in the future.
Yeah.
With different segments like
different things. Change it up a bit. If there's somebody you want to know more about, feel free to drop us a line.
Yeah, we'll do something. We'll do something. Or if you have something, and we have a few more shows left for this season. And then we're going to take a little break, because we need one, because we are moms.
That's right.
When these kids get on spring break, we get on break too.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a few more shows left.
You don't want this to become the Twin and Dom show. It's like, no, thank you. Evelyn and Mary.
That's funny. You'll have the twins. I have not. And my guy likes to be on camera, by the way.
Yeah, does he? Yeah, they do too. Yeah, they will happily push us aside so they can talk. I'm sure.
He's like, hi.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine likes the camera. Yeah. So.
Yes.
Well, this has been another fun-filled show. I know that Nikki, you gotta go, so I
gotta go to the dentist.
I don't want to keep you, so I'm gonna say all your closing stuff. And
I'm Nicole Flamer. You can reach me at Home with Nicole on Twitter. That's @ Home with Nicole on Twitter. I have my own podcast, Live Love Lux, to talk about manifestation and all that good stuff, motivation. So you can catch me there, and I will see you guys next week.
All right, Nikki. My name is Tiffy T, the Resell Queen. I can be reached at info@resellqueen.com. Also have another podcast called The Resell Queen Chronicles, where we discuss reselling in this market today. Awesome. This has been another fun-filled edition of Entrepremommies. And remember, we are the mommies that handle business.
Woo-hoo.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
At Entrepremommies, we share from experience.